than to open the Strait of Hormuz to put an end to the conflict. But he had time to have this controversy with President Obama. A former president of the United States also has a very busy schedule. Conferences, talks all over the world, not only in the US. So why would they waste time or spend time with a current president at a time when the world tends to underestimate, to treat in a belittling manner this issue and saying, oh, it's not important, it's not relevant at all, never happened, it doesn't exist? Why would two such important men start dealing with something that didn't exist, that supposedly has no relevance, no importance? Either something happened or something is about to happen, right? I don't know exactly what happened or what could happen. What I can say, confidently and with certainty, is that if the current president of the United States, who doesn't have the time to go to his own son's wedding, has the time to deal with this issue, I mean to deal with the war with Iran, or relations with China, the president of the United States doesn't deal with more than 2 or 3 problems a day. It's impossible for them to deal with more than 2 or 3 problems a day that are key to the country. I know that. I worked very closely with presidents. I was a minister. I worked in political coordination. I was a political leader. I saw the president's diary. They delegate to ministers, and they use their secretaries from different departments. Science and technology, defense, state secretaries, they all have their own schedules. And the president chooses 2 or 3 issues to deal with every day. So suddenly in the middle of all that, this subject emerges and re-emerges. The subject of unidentified objects, unidentified flying objects. Within controversy between both the former and current head of state. Obviously, this requires anyone capable of rational thought to realize that something important might be said or revealed. What exactly? Only he knows.
Yeah, and Obama sort of walked his statement back. He talked about Area 51 and alien beings underground there. But then you realize the documentary that got made that I was talking about, John Brennan was the CIA director, director of national intelligence, and then Obama has a production company where he's making a movie about the first abduction in the United States, Betty and Barney Hill in 1961. So he's definitely interested in the topic. Into those sorts of phenomena, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where people meet beings face to face. There's one that's famous. I don't know if you ever heard of this in the 60s, but there are many cases where they interact with the beings and go up on the ships. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I've only heard what I saw in the news. It's an expression that we use in Brazil too. There was a phenomenon, an event close to Uberaba in the state of Minas Gerais. This very well-known event involving a group of students who were on an excursion in the mountainous region of Minas Gerais. And one of the girls moved away from the group for a while and just vanished. And the investigations never came to a conclusion about what happened to her. This young girl, she was with this party, and the local press said that it was like a phenomenon of abduction. In other words, she disappeared. And this is, of course, in the literature, but it's not part of my knowledge or domain, nor is it my role to make further considerations about it, this phenomenon.
You know, the final case I'll bring up is there's a Stanford professor named Gary Nolan, who's a famous professor in the U.S., and I guess there was a columnist here at O Globo, His name is Ibrahim Sued, and he was mailed a little
Yes.
piece of a UFO because this crash was seen by this fisherman on the beach in Ubatuba. Have you heard of this case in 1957?
Não.
But they
Agora
only
só
got a
pegaram
part
o
of
pé.
it, the object. They didn't get the whole thing. And that ended up with Ibrahim Sued, and he sent this part of the object to this scientist at Stanford in the United States.
Yes, exactly. So this fisherman sees this thing zigzagging, flying in a sort of a
Sim.
pattern. It blows up on the beach, and fragments fall out. He then mails this to Ibrahim Sued. He then mails it to Jacques Vallée, the French UFO researcher I mentioned earlier. Jacques Vallée is close with Gary Nolan, the Stanford professor, and he says, I want you to do mass spectrometry on it, test it. And so he tests it.
What happened? Did they
he has
perform the spectrometry?
Yes, he
Then
has
why?
it in his lab today. I've seen it actually myself. And it has 99.9% magnesium, a level of purity in the magnesium that you would never find naturally on Earth. You only find magnesium with sort of alloys. So extremely interesting fact pattern.
That's very strange.